Good evening and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news, broadcasting live and then available on demand. We are available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, and of course YouTube and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It's Thursday, September 15th, 2022. And as I said, we are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson. This evening we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ plus news, you will see it and hear it.
Happening Out Television Network is a 501c3 nonprofit media platform in the television and radio model of PBS and NPR, but designed for our LGBTQ plus community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
Our magazine is celebrating 36 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
Well, let's begin by welcoming anchor Jamaal L. Starks. Jamaal, a rare Miami native, also known affectionately as Porcelain. He has been active as Vice President of Impulse Chapter Miami, a member of the ballroom community through the House of Gorgeous Gucci, and firmly connected to a host of community-based organizations across South Florida, a professional background boasting a 16-year aviation career that led him to oversee the flight operations of 2 major airlines, and a 17-year HIV plus thriver. He's dedicated himself to lead by example that Black queer individuals are inherently worthy of living safe, healthy, and abundantly thriving life without social conditioning. Welcome, Jamaal.
Hey, welcome. Glad to have me back, Al. Right.
Did you say I'm glad to I'm glad to have you back.
Let's welcome anchor DJ Franco. DJ Franco has been working in the community for more than 10 years. Locally known from La Boy and Hamburger Mary's, you can also catch him every Monday at Throw Social in Delray Beach with Sad Brunch Bingo. Funny, spontaneous, adventurous DJ Franco. Welcome, DJ Franco.
Hey guys, thanks for having me here. That's right, you can catch me at Hamburger Mary's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and also Mondays in Delray at Throw Social with my good friend London Adore. Shout out to London. Let's welcome our next anchor, Nik Nak London. Nik Nak is a music artist known for his popular song, Can't Take Me. He's the MC on Friday nights at the Escape Lounge nightclub, a legend in ballroom, and a cast member from the YouTube series, The Come Up, Miami. Welcome, Nik Nak.
Thank you for that warm welcome. And let's welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro. An inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame, Gregg is the author of 8 books, including his latest, Fear of Muses, an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and music reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ plus and mainstream publications and websites. His movie review column called Screen Sayer can be found in South Florida Gay News, San Francisco Bay, Area Reporter, RottenTomatoes.com, and more. Good evening, Gregg.
Good evening. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the Queer News for today, Thursday, September 15th, 2022, and may I wish you all a happy National Linguini Day.
Yeah, okay. And, all right, let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Charlie Crist speaks to South Florida gay community on what is at stake against Governor Ron DeSantis. Yesterday, we reported that Congressman Charlie Crist came to Wilton Manors to accept the endorsement of all the major LGBTQ plus civil rights organizations in Florida. The executive directors of HRC, Equality Florida, SAVE, and the Florida LGBTQ plus Democratic Caucus, representing all 21 chapters across Florida, all introduced former Florida Governor Crist. This was unique and historic for many reasons. The leading LGBTQ plus political organizations had all come together to say in unison how critical this moment is for our community and for LGBTQ plus civil rights. It was unique that they were endorsing a former Republican governor during the Obama years that changed party affiliations as the GOP began to change, eventually becoming Trump MAGA Republicans. Also historic because the candidate for governor came to the epicenter of LGBTQ plus Florida, Wilton Drive in Fort Lauderdale, to unconditionally stand up for the queer community. Finally, historic and unique for a former Florida governor to put out an LGBTQ plus manifesto of what he plans to do to restore LGBTQ plus civil rights in the state of Florida. It was a set of moments we have never seen before. Perhaps it took Ron DeSantis to propel the moment, but it has nevertheless arrived. The election is close. Just today, 538 reports that the polling average of the top 6 polls on the Florida governor's race has it 49.9% for DeSantis and 43.8% for Crist. And that is a 2-point improvement for Crist in September alone. At the press conference that was covered by all major media, I was able to ask the first question. A simple one. With 1.5 million LGBTQ plus Floridians, what are you asking them to do between now and the election?
Congressman Crist, Florida is one of the largest LGBTQ communities in the country.
Yes.
So as we approach this election, an estimated 1.5 million LGBTQ plus Floridians, what specifically are you asking them, this incredible endorsement, what specifically are you asking them to do?
I'm asking them to vote. Vote like hell. Yep. Vote like your life depends on it. Yep. Because it does. Your freedom depends on it. Your life depends on it. Your respect depends upon it. Get out and vote. That is our voice. I served with John Lewis in the House of Representatives. What a wonderful man on civil rights, on voting rights, on human rights. And he used to always tell me, he would say, Charlie, your right to vote is precious. And it's so precious, it's probably sacred. With the help of God, with the help of all of you, we're going to get this done. And it'll be a new day in the Sunshine State. We're going to bring the sunshine back to Florida.
At the end of this evening's Queer News Tonight, we will show you his entire full speech discussing the LGBTQ plus community and the endorsements, the historic endorsements that took place. It was an interesting moment. I think the big story here yesterday was exactly what we told in this story. Not necessarily what he said, but where he was and who was embracing him. All of these organizations coming together and saying, nope, we're all on the same page. We're all going to sing out of the same hymnal. It was a strange feeling because all of these major Titan LGBT advocacy organizations are endorsing somebody who was the governor of Florida as a Republican. Who would have ever thought that we could say that? And then finally, the fact that he is doing it on Wilton Drive, unequivocally and unapologetically standing up for the LGBTQ community with his manifesto of saying, this is enough, this must be changed, and here's what I'm going to do. It was quite a historic moment.
It is, and it's also quite a message to the LGBTQ plus community at large here in Florida. As to what he said, get out and vote. Get out and vote. This is now sacred. We're at a point in history that we've never seen before, and I can tell you that this is going to go down in the record books. This election, and also people are going to ask, where were you and what did you do about it?
You know, I'm curious, some younger diversity voice tonight at Queer News Tonight. Is the community going to get out?
I hope so.
Yeah, I've been partnering with some members in the ballroom community, some of the youth, and I've been encouraging them to come and vote, get out and vote. I actually led an early vote with my House members, so we got out and we did it early. But I think it's very important for them to do so. I remember it was a big deal to see a politician in the African American communities. Now to see them with our LGBTQ plus community, you can tell that times are changing. And this is very, very critical for us to just make sure we're part of the change.
With a Black trans woman. Shout out to you, Tatiana.
Yeah, staying right over in that corner. That's exactly right.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm sure it was not accidental where they had her stand. When she came into the room, it's like, whoop, oh wait, right over here, please. Yeah.
I'm a little concerned. I think back to the previous gubernatorial election when there was such great hope, and then of course such massive disappointment with what happened to Gillum. And
4.5 million votes, and the Democratic candidate lost by 40,000.
Right.
Yeah.
4.5 million.
Right. I mean, so that was really frightening, and it's just this cloud of his former Republican, because didn't he also run against Scott as a Democrat?
Yes.
He didn't come to Wilton Manors. He didn't come to speak to the gay community because I don't think we were under threat at that time. But he's already lost an election running as a Democrat after having won as a Republican. It just feels very, very unsteady to me, unstable.
I come back to my my question because I heard the hope. Yeah, I hope so. I heard I've done this in my house, but broadly, your experience in the communities that you live in, you know, you're sitting there on Friday, Saturday night at Hamburger Mary's. I mean, you're ground zero in entertainment in LGBT Florida. The people coming into Hamburger Mary's going, I'm voting, I'm gonna vote.
Usually,
no matter what.
What the bar scene does is like, we'll entice people to go out and vote. Like if you go out and vote, wear your sticker to the bar, you get like a free drink or a free shot or something, just to get people like out there. Because you give people something, they'll go out and do it. You know?
So you can use that as a platform?
Definitely.
You can really?
Definitely.
Wow, okay.
So are you asking
are we going to do it?
Temperature?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Checking the temperature.
That's exactly right. That's what I'm doing.
You want me to give my honest?
Of course.
The temperature is cold because of politics and what has gone on, and because of the letdown. I can tell you that the temperature is it's not. I sent out a request during primary election and got a lot of feedback, and the feedback honestly was, we don't care. And yeah, and I'm praying that people understand the historical significance, maybe because some people don't know the history or what's at stake, or they're not educated. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, the temperature is pretty
You're
cold.
millennial? Is that?
85. I'm 85.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
millennial. Yeah.
So for millennials, and to say as clearly as you said, there are people, Orlando Gonzalez at SAVE and Nadine Smith at Equality Florida right now is going, hand me the knife and, at this moment.
But they need to hear it.
But they absolutely do need to hear it. You know, we've watched unprecedented issues in 2022. We have done like 9,742 stories at Queer News Tonight about what's going on in Florida. What's it going to take? Why are we not responding?
So I believe, and you know, I'm very big on energy, I'm very big on chakras, and I believe that things are happening exactly as they are supposed to. Unfortunately, we do have a ton of people who are not educated. They do not share this same concern. And you know, they say you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. All we can do is lead and do our part. And I believe that until everyone wakes up and everyone is cleared and we're all focused on the one message of love, that things will continue to happen until there is change. That's the unfortunate. And so maybe leading with that, these things that are happening are going to continue to happen until we do what we were supposed to do when we got here.
You know, and one last related question. Wilton Manors has a very centric, older, white, gay man perspective of Wilton Drive in terms of color. Is the people of color, regardless of the representation of the color, is there much excitement in those communities? Do you think? Is there?
Mm-hmm. As far as I can speak for the Black community as a whole, is yes, very. The temperature is hot. Like, this is hot. My dad works in politics. He actually works with Charlie Crist, and they are putting all of their energy into this. Now, as far as the Black queer community goes, I think because of the layers, because of
closeted.
There's just, and there's no central unit for us as far as safe space goes, as far as where we gather goes. So you tackle a whole heap of problems that just, it's not a clear solution to how do you impact this community. And that is actually one of the things that Impulse is trying to do, me as the vice president of Impulse. And it's pretty difficult. It's pretty difficult to rally people who are, there's just not, like I said, a centralized theme. There's not a space. There's not a haven to go and be like this.
And you'll agree?
Does that hold true? I mean, you're talking about South Florida specifically, or is it different maybe in Orlando or maybe in Tampa? Is it different?
It's different in South Florida. It's different in Florida in general.
Okay.
We're not Atlanta, where you have a Black population. We're not DC. We're not New York. We're not Chicago.
Right.
We're a melting pot. And when you don't have a centralized location, if you don't have centralized safe spaces, then you kind of just have a scattering of everything.
Well, I hope many of our LGBT leadership is listening to you, because it sounds like we have some challenges ahead that we've got to address. We have 7 weeks. Let's talk about the courts.
Let's queer up the courts. LGBTQ plus student group wins shocking 5-4 Supreme Court decision against Jewish University. The Supreme Court said on Wednesday that an Orthodox Jewish university in New York, named Yeshiva University, is to officially recognize an LGBTQ plus student group. In a 5-4 vote, the justices rejected the request made by Yeshiva University, which said that recognizing the LGBTQ group would be against its sincerest religious beliefs. The Supreme Court decision is in line with what was said by the New York State judge, who passed a rule in June that the university was bound by the New York City human rights law, which bars discrimination based on sexual orientation. The Jewish university argues that it is a religious institution and therefore must be exempted from the law. Obliging the school to endorse the LGBTQ plus student group would be a clear violation of its First Amendment rights. Last week, Justice Sonia Sotomayor imposed a temporary hold on the state court ruling, allowing the court to have more time to consider the university's request. On Wednesday, the court said that the university could turn to the High Court again if it does not agree with the ruling in the New York State courts. The New York anti-discrimination law exempts religious organizations from its jurisdiction, but Manhattan-based Judge Lynn Kotler mentioned that Yeshiva did not meet the relevant criteria. And if I remember correctly, I reported on this story 2 days ago, and I had optimism. And I think that now, we're optimistic. Yes. We have a 5-4 vote, and it wasn't looking so good when we last discussed this story. But to your point, Al, we're looking at religious beliefs versus civil rights issues. Right. And here we have civil rights issues winning out at the New York City.
I have to provide an asterisk on that, because the relevant criteria that you just reported on in your story is that the state judge said that Yeshiva's primary purpose is education. They're not they have the periphery of a religious institution, but they're not a church. And very likely the Supreme Court would have ruled differently if it was a church. If the church wanted to ban LGBT congregates, the Supreme Court would probably justify it. In conclusion, this 5-4 decision is that yeshiva is a university, and its primary purpose is to educate, and so therefore it has to follow the human rights law.
I mean, if they want to say their thing is to educate, why are they trying to take that away? Like, not educate everything, you know what I mean? Just like pick and choose.
Yeah.
Well, because it's Orthodox Jews, and I was going to say, suggest for further Orthodox mishigas and shenanigans, may I recommend the wonderful movie Eyes Wide Open, which is great, and the documentary Trembling Before God, if you really want to get a feel for the people who are running things at this school.
Yeah.
Now, are religious college or educational institutions
private? They can do what, in general, they are able to implement a lot of their own rules because they're not public institutions, and yeshiva is a private institution. This decision, one other thing on the 5-4 vote, we're happy about it. When we, in our headline, the headline you just delivered, shocking 5-4 decision, because anything the Supreme Court does now is shocking to us on either side. There's a whole core of moral majoritists and Liberty University people that are shocked at this, just like we are. We win 5-4. They're shocked that they lose 5-4. The one big issue here, though, is while we're happy about this, it's probably short-lived because that state interpretation is going to be evaluated carefully. They're probably going to find the right federal judge to say, no, it's a religious institution, and so therefore freedom of religion trumps LGBT civil rights, and a 5-4 decision in the Supreme Court. When this happened yesterday, I thought to myself, oh yeah, it's just like Obergefell. We won. We're settled forever. No, it's not.
And I would not be surprised if there was some kvetching that the court sided with the Gentiles on numerous occasions and against Jews in this instance.
Yeah.
I'm sure that would
Now, does this case open up room for other religious institutions that have, gay LGBTQ plus clubs or other clubs that don't necessarily?
The answer is yes. It will be used as a precedent where the court has said we've ruled at this level. It's also a bad sign that they open the door to say, please, if you disagree, bring it back again.
Yeah, right.
What I like about this is here are a group of students challenging the status quo.
Right.
And I believe we are at a time where that needs to be visible, where we are seeing different groups, especially within our community, standing up for something. And I believe that this is progress to your point of what could be next. So I think it's a good thing. While it may be short-lived, it gives someone like myself hope, and I'm sure many others, that if we did it once, we can do it again, but we need to strategize to make sure that when we do it the next time, it's solid.
And then it sticks.
Of course. And it
like
sticks.
that,
Stick the landing. One other thing that is interesting here to me for yeshiva is, and I said this when you told the story a couple of days ago about that this was happening and what Sotomayor did. We were negative on Sotomayor pausing even the interpretation in that story. What's interesting is if you apply other kinds of minority status, take it out of LGBT, now put in black in this exact same situation, because the fine line that yeshiva walked, this organization, this club, has been around for a number of years.
Since 2018.
Right. They could exist as long as they weren't official. Yeshiva says, wait, if we have to recognize you as official, we can't, because now God will hate us. And, well, why couldn't you make that exact same argument to say, well, we acknowledge that black people exist, but if we make them official, then we can't do it. Because honestly, I don't see any difference at all. The same for women. We know women exist, but we can't officially recognize them.
Is this because it would have become knowledge or public knowledge to the community?
Yes, it really would.
And
Yeshiva is
backlash.
embracing, that's exactly right. It becomes official in terms of providing meeting space, in terms of being able to participate in different events in an official capacity.
Right, and they run the risk of families not sending their students to the schools.
Money.
So it's like,
Right.
well,
Money.
they want
Does
We're
come
back
back.
to money.
Yeah,
Come back to
Religion, money, go
exactly.
hand in hand. All right, I guess we're going to move on to some politics.
All right, it is time to queer up politics. All right, warning to senators as new poll shows 64% of battleground states likely voters back gay marriage. As per the Human Rights Campaign poll released on Wednesday, nearly 2/3 of potential voters in states are in favor of protecting the national right to same-sex marriage. Let us understand why it matters. The countdown has begun as Senate advances towards a vote on the Democrats' Respect for Marriage Act, which will codify the right to marriage equally for same-sex and interracial relationships. The final decision of this vote could influence voters in battleground states ahead of November's midterms. The Human Rights Campaign poll, which surveyed potential voters in the swing states, namely Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, New Hampshire, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, found that 58% of men and 69% of women support federal marriage equality protections. 55% of Christians back a federal law to protect marriage equality. According to the polling conducted by other organizations, including Gallup and Morning Consult, it is clear that most Americans support marriage equality. It will be an important occurrence when Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer will slate votes on Respect for Marriage Act next week. The Human Rights Campaign poll surveyed 1,665 likely voters in key battleground states through online platforms and via text from August 18th to the 24th. So this is pretty good for me because I'm in the DJ business, so I do a bunch of weddings. So let's get those votes going up.
And those numbers were shockingly high.
Yeah.
I was really blown away by that.
Of the 58, 69, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I actually was shocked by that.
You know, those numbers are actually low. And just in clarification, because it's a little confusing in the HR reporting, the 69 and 58% are the averages of the battleground states. That's not America. The numbers are actually much higher than that. These numbers are only in the battlegrounds. North Carolina is at play. Arizona is at play. Florida is at play. Yeah. Where the Wisconsin is at play, where the numbers are that. And that's important, both in terms of the number for Christians. The majority of religious identifying Christians are in favor of gay marriage.
Yeah.
This is problematic for Marco Rubio and for Johnson in Wisconsin and the crazy one in Arizona and the crazy one, Crazy Oz in Pennselsvania. Because at the end of the day, if they come out strongly, it's what Schumer's doing next week. And by the way, it's semi-official. The vote in the Senate is next week. If those four vote no, they're voting against the very significant majority in their state. And it puts them on record of who and what they are. And they're in a battle. Marco Rubio and Val Deming are just neck and neck. And she's sitting there with saliva dripping off her fangs going, please vote no, please vote no, please vote no. Because there's going to be an overwhelming reaction.
This is the chess move you were talking about.
It is. It absolutely is.
Not only that, do you see my optimism now?
And frankly, I have the same optimism.
Yeah.
It's going to be a win for us, I think, either way. We are going to win Respect for Marriage outright next week, or even if we don't get the 10 senators, we're going to win it November 8th.
Right.
One way or the other, it's going to come
It's show your hand time.
Right.
It's show me what you got.
And I'm so glad you mentioned being a DJ because what a boom business.
Yeah, it does.
Gay marriages for any marriages for anybody. So why would they turn their backs on this?
And you know, one of the things we never discuss this in the stories, why would somebody want to get married anyway?
Right.
Let's talk about that.
Let's start there.
Lots of single ladies at the table.
Well, let's queer up religion. Mormon church leaders join Interfaith Coalition letter supporting expanded LGBTQ+ rights in Florida. A group of over 45 religious LGBTQ and educational leaders that includes rabbis, reverends, and Latter-day Saint leaders have signed a joint letter requesting legislation in Florida to protect LGBTQ people from discrimination. The letter was published on Sunday in the Miami Herald and on September 1st by the Tampa Bay Times with the headline, quote, "A call for peace," end quote. The article called out Floridians to protect people from discrimination in employment, housing, and public accommodations. The letter mentioned that, quote, "No one should be denied these protections based on their sexual orientation or gender identity, and likewise, religious persons and institutions should be protected in practicing their faith," end quote. The letter comes 5 months after Florida instituted its parental rights in education law, which prevents classroom instructions about gender identity and sexual orientation in Florida schools. The letter was signed by 2 Area 70s of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, namely Elders Victor P. Patrick and Daniel P. Amato. The church senior leadership has been supporting the similar Fairness for All legislation since 2015. When Utah passed the historic anti-discrimination and religious rights compromise with the church's backing. This letter came 4 months after a similar letter was published by Georgia leaders in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. 54 leaders, including a Latter-day Saint, are 70. So I'm actually not sure how to respond to this just yet. But yeah,
You're digesting.
I am digesting.
I mean, it's kind of shocking. Again, it's nice that they passed this thing recently, but I still keep thinking back to 2008 and the role the LDS played in financing Prop 8 in California. I mean, maybe Mormons can change their spots,
Not only that, but conversion therapy.
Right,
as well.
right.
Like,
Absolutely.
Aren't they the biggest conversion therapists around? And are the Latter-day Saints the same as Mormons? Because there is Mormon, the strict Mormonism. Practice.
The Church of Latter-day Saints
Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints
is
a
Mormon
church. Okay, so I'm right. These are the
You know, it's interesting to me, and I have 1,000 examples of this. Greg always sees the glass half empty. I always see the glass half full.
No, see, I think I also half full of poison, actually.
Yes. It's fantastic news from my seat. And the reason is you throw the soundbite out there, but let's make sure that we're clear. California passes marriage, gay marriage, long ahead of Clinton, long ahead of Obama for sure in 2008 and 10. He really didn't come to it until 10. Long before that, California was there. And then Prop 8 comes along to annul that and reverse that decision. And a year after Prop 8 passes to annul all gay marriages that were already legal in California. And that passed almost single-handedly because of the Mormon Church. They spent $20 million in California to the Prop 8. For this to happen is really a big deal. And it's been going on, as you just said in your story, since 2015. It's an indication that people can change. And whether we like it or not, everyone is not going to come to acceptance of civil rights, of black rights, of women making choices of their own bodies, or LGBT. Those are facts. I'm not saying I agree with it or how they get there, but it is a fact that everyone does not move to it in the same basis, and that's what this is doing. You know, one of the really dirty little secrets about LGBT acceptance in America? 58% of all evangelicals support the LGBT civil rights movement. 58%, because it's just like Catholics. Well, you can say there can be no abortion, Pope or Rome, but we don't agree with you. That does not make us not Catholic.
Right.
And that's what's going on in LGBT, and that's what is going on here. This letter is to say, as even evangelicals, we support LGBT civil rights.
Do you think that they were losing members, and that's why they made this kind of switch?
I want a half glass or glass half full. I want to believe that they think right is right.
Okay.
It
Maybe
is
they're
a
finally
human
waking up
right,
and
they just
realizing.
are finally realizing you're not the boogeyman. You're not grooming our children. You're not. Well, you might be. But
Wow. On that note, why don't we queer up gay culture? As British Bake Off returns, gay contestants call for more LGBTQ plus inclusion. Two popular gay contestants from the Great British Bake Off, which is known as the Great British Baking Show in the US, say the show needs to do more for LGBTQ plus inclusion. The winner of the 2019 season, David Atherton, said that the reality show has been very accepting of the inclusion of gay men and has highlighted them a lot, but the rest of the queer community appears to be slightly sidelined. His fellow season contestant, Michael Chakravarty, who identifies as gay, also agrees with David's view. He said the 2019 season of this show allowed them to wear t-shirts that were pro-LGBTQI+. However, now is the time for the show to include a transgender competitor. Atherton and Chakravarty have recently started a podcast, Sticky Bun Boys, in line with the baking show, which starts a new season Tuesday. It will include baking advice and dating advice, along with a discussion of disasters in those realms. The podcast will offer a lot to queer audiences. Chakravarty said that there is this feeling within a queer community where, when one finds the community, there's an open discussion about every aspect of queer life, and the show tries to do the same. Sticky Bun Boys can be accessed on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other platforms. Sticky Bun Boys. I like saying that. I'm going to say it a few more times.
Yeah, I like that.
Sticky Bun Boys. So this baking stuff, like, is one of my husband's favorite shows. I'm not allowed anywhere near the kitchen because we don't have enough fire extinguishers in the house. But it is one of his favorite shows. And I actually like the fact that for a while, Matt Lucas from Little Britain was one of the co-hosts. So there is this queerness. But yes, they do need to have, we need some lesbians, we need some trans people.
both of the hosts are gay. But the other one is uber gay.
I think he's straight. The guy with the black hair? You sure? Okay.
I'm-
Okay. But yeah, so Matt Lucas, that's good. But yeah,
I've never watched the show a day in my life. So
Yeah.
I
are you a baker?
no.
Have you watched the show?
I have not watched the show, but I like that there is more visibility of the LGBTQ community, and it's being celebrated and it's being welcomed. So I feel like we're making progress, and I'm just excited. Sticky Bum Boys, is it?
Sticky Bun Boys.
It's funny. Halfway through Greg doing this story, and he said the show is going to start on Tuesday, and I couldn't listen to anything else because I just started dreaming about the show. Now, RuPaul Drag Race guy for a long time. The only thing that's even come close is the Great British Bake Off.
Really?
It is one of the best reality shows ever created.
But the stress level.
Way
more than on Drag Race.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
yes.
It's like,
it's
oh,
hard.
Well, it's all to like
hard.
measurements and
And-
like, my
God,
friend's a
yes.
chef, a pastry chef,
and
and
the
it's
challenges
crazy.
of what they're doing. This barely can be called baking because this is artistry of what they're doing. It is an amazing show. The English are so quirky, and they're doing it in a tent, and it is just absolutely fabulous.
A tent outside.
Outside. And
could catch
my
fire, you
roommate
know.
and I have watched every season. I think there's 9, 10 seasons. We've watched every season, every episode at least twice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm a good
I
on
shall
this.
have to check
And
it.
Tuesday, you should check it out. It is
I love
absolutely great.
I love cooking.
And the
Okay.
guy from
Check
Little
out.
Britain, I don't know if
So
what's
great.
his
Matt
name?
Lucas.
Yeah, Matt Lucas.
So great.
My goodness, they are just
Yeah.
they're
The
just-
cutest?
No,
Is
Oh, he's not cute, but he's funny.
but amazingly
Yeah.
hilarious.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at Happening Out Television Studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m. with more than 30,000 watching every week.
This is Orlando Gonzalez. I'm the Executive Director of Safeguarding American Values for Everyone, also known as SAVE, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Well, we finished tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up entertainment. From LGBTQ plus news partner Pink News and writer Charlie Duncan. Wait, Lisa Simpson is queer? The Simpsons' Al Jean has said that Lisa being queer is a possibility. Fan theories believe that Lisa could be part of the LGBTQ plus community. The theory is based on the season 23 flash forward episode Holidays of Futures Past, which gave a tiny glimpse of a grown-up Lisa holding hands with two women. Fans think that it is a hint that grown-up Lisa would find herself in a queer power throuple. The interview of The Simpsons showrunner Al Jean with Digital Spy discussed the speculation around Lisa's sexuality, where Al Jean said that this, in his opinion, there is a possibility for Lisa to be queer. However, it is just his opinion. Find more at pinknews.co.uk.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up drag culture. From LGBTQ plus news partner Out and writer Bernardo Sim, James Ross as RuPaul's Drag Race Season 2 winner Tyra Sanchez teases drag return. Years after winning RuPaul's Drag Race Season 2, James Ross, the artist formerly known as Tyra Sanchez, retired from drag due to backlash from the fans and certain social media controversies. However, it appears that Tyra is ready to make a comeback under a new drag name, King Tyra. James Ross has recently shared a video on Facebook featuring a crowd of fans and the words, "Tyra is coming," flashing all over. The caption of the post read, quotation, "My name is James, her name is King Tyra. Tyra's drag is available exclusively on OnlyFans. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss the return of the king," end quote. Ross seems ready to make a comeback with a swag and power which reflects in the bio of Tyra's OnlyFans profile, which states, "All hail the king." Find out more at out.com.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. From LGBTQ plus news partner, The Advocate. Luke MacFarlane discusses what gay sex scene he said no to for bros. Openly gay Canadian actor Luke MacFarlane has unveiled some details about the gay sex scenes in his upcoming movie Bros. Bros is co-written and co-starred by Billy Eichner and is the first queer romantic comedy backed by a renowned Hollywood studio. MacFarlane is playing Eichner's love interest in this movie. While talking to Variety in his recent interview, MacFarlane talked about the mechanics of setting the scenes up and the potential scenes he rejected. Variety describes MacFarlane's character in Bros as a straight acting and straight appearing attorney with serious commitment issues, and he appears to spend most of the screen time shirtless, and also states that the sex scenes in the film are choreographed by a queer intimacy coordinator, and they discussed prior to the filming. During the interview, MacFarlane revealed that there was one idea that was plainly rejected by Eichner. Find out more at advocate.com.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBT LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Jamaal Starks, Gregg Shapiro, DJ Franco, and Nik Nak London. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. But before we end our show, we have one more story.
Just one more. So let's finally talk about queering up politics. So Charlie Crist speaks with Florida's LGBTQ plus leaders. Recently, Florida gubernatorial candidate Charlie Crist spoke in the heart of Wilton Manors. He was joined by the leaders of some of the top LGBTQ plus political organizations in the state. We now present his full statement at the event.
Thank you. I'm very humbled to be here today, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate your support, your endorsement, and your love. It's about love. It really is. So I'm honored to be here. I can't tell you how pleased this makes me, how warm you make me feel, literally. Well, we're staying out of the rain. That's important. But I tell you, Ron DeSantis is a nightmare. We all know that. You all know that. Florida knows that. The folks here today are leaders of our community, state, and nation who have been on the front lines of our fight for equality for years. And listen, I don't have to tell the folks in this room that the attacks Ron DeSantis has levied against LGBTQ Floridians have been endless, endless. DeSantis attacks people like trans kids and their parents because he's a bully and he's weak. He doesn't care the damage he causes. For him, it's all about politics. He attacks you because he wants to run for president of the United States. Well, guess what? When we beat him in November, that show is over. Listen, with the support of those standing with me today, we'll make Ron DeSantis, as you said, Joe, a one-term governor. Make no mistake, I'm running for governor to be a friend and ally, loyal ally to the LGBTQ community. The truth is, we're all children of God. We all deserve dignity. We all deserve respect and to be treated fairly. I try to live by the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. If Governor DeSantis ever knew the golden rule, clearly he has forgotten it. That's why on day one of my administration, I'll sign an executive order to protect LGBTQ Floridians from discrimination, and I will fight tooth and nail to repeal the heinous Don't Say Gay law. Yes. You know, the damage has been clear. Teachers taking pictures of their spouse off their desk, safe space and rainbow stickers coming off doors. And just this week, a 1-2 punch out of Miami-Dade County, rejecting LGBTQ History Month. Unbelievable. Miami high schoolers no longer taken to Cuban playwright Nilo Cruz's Pulitzer Prize-winning play, Anna in the Tropics, simply because he's gay? It's outrageous, my friends. I'll end the attacks on trans Floridians and parents' rights, and I'll fire DeSantis' quack Surgeon General. Listen, Florida's LGBTQ plus community deserves a governor who honors, respects, and welcomes you all, not one that treats you like a political punching bag. And let me talk about women too. He's not only trying to take away LGBTQ freedoms, he's trying to take away women's freedoms. Your right to choose about your body and your health. It is unconscionable. I mean, where are we? We are not in a free state. We're in the most unfree state, Joe, in America. And it's all because of Ron DeSantis. But on November 8th, my friends, on November 8th, the people will speak loudly. We will make a change in the governor's mansion, and we all will win this election. God bless you, and thank you so much.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBT